Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a follow, leave us a review, cut a promo on us by calling 626-657-SLAM. Anything goes. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. All right, cue the music.
Hello and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped wrestling history. All right, Grapple City, pack your bags and gas up the hog with IcoPro, because today we are rewinding all the way back to August 1992. 80,000 screaming fans packed the Wembley Stadium, and somehow the loudest noise of the night wasn't the Macho Man snapping the Ultimate Warrior like a Slim Jim. It was for a British dude with dreadlocks pinning the best technical wrestler in the world, allegedly, while high on cocaine. Yep, it is Summerslam 92. I'm Bradley Palermo, here, as always, with Aaron Fink and Aaron. Before we go back in time today, I think we should talk about this past weekend, because it was the, in my opinion, mostly disappointing wrestling spectacular called Summerslam 2025. How did you feel about it? Hopefully better than I did.
Well, first of all, is IcoPro fuel? Is that what you were talking about a minute ago? I didn't know what I'm so young. I don't know what IcoPro is.
IcoPro is just like a pre-workout powder.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Ico, because I keep seeing it in all these old shows that we're watching. I'm like, what is this stuff?
Oh yeah, they had Lex Luger really pushing it for a while, but yeah, I mean, they tried to make you think they're all big because of IcoPro. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. That's definitely what it is. Okay, so SummerSlam this past weekend, first 2-night SummerSlam ever. I thought that, like, from a business perspective, success for them. Yay, they made a bunch of money. They sold, a bunch of tickets. But for me as a fan, I was mostly disappointed. I think the two best matches of the weekend were the main events of both nights. And even that is kind of, I feel like I'm being generous, because, like, I love Punk. I think everybody who's listening knows that we both love Punk. And I like Gunther matches. Mm-hmm. Historically, I've liked all of them. This one felt a little sloppy to me, like a lot of the time. Did you notice that also?
I thought the production kind of sucked too. They had the cameras on the wrong side of the bumps. So sometimes you'd see them like stomp each other's faces a full fucking foot away.
That stomp was really bad though.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I was cool with the Punk Gunther thing. I thought that getting swerved by Rollins was kind of cool, because I didn't expect it. And now we think we know everything all the time. If they can trick us, that's cool. The finishes on the other matches were kind of clean, not a lot of shenanigans. I was okay with that, but I mean, I have much more, I guess, to complain about than to praise. Overall, I mean, I don't know if we should just go through it. I don't want to sound.
Yeah, we can go through some. No, let's do it. I want to talk about it. It took up 8 hours of our weekend. We should chat about it a little bit.
Yeah, I think John Cena's face turn didn't have any like oomph behind it. It was just, hey, I'm a babyface now.
Well, it was damage control, right? They I don't know. Did you watch any of WWE Unreal yet?
No, and I really don't appreciate them making shows about how staged wrestling is and advertising during the fucking wrestling thing. Now, you can do it. I preferably about the past, but don't push it to me while I'm trying to be immersed in the story. I like to try to believe if I can, but go ahead.
I understand that. I totally do. My opinion is that overall, the negative reaction to that show is an overreaction. And let me tell you why. I watched all 5 episodes the day it came out. I binged the whole thing straight through. And honestly, there was maybe 1 or 2 things that I didn't know already. Right. Like, even the behind the scenes stuff, you and me already know this. We're the types of fans that want to know. I think you're this type of fan. I am the type of fan that likes to know as much as possible, because it makes me appreciate it more. And I'm okay with knowing the secrets because I can let them go.
Right.
Some people can't let them go, and that's fine. But dude, all they talked about that was revealing was like they talked about everyone in Gorilla and they explained all their roles,
Right.
and you actually know who all of the producers and agents are.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see, you know, them on headset talking to the refs. Like, okay, fine. I guess you reminded me about the fact that refs have earpieces,
Right.
and maybe that will take me out occasionally. But like, that was it, dude.
Right.
It was just like a doc about WWE. So I think the hate was a little unjustified.
I don't know about like the hate because to me it's I don't know what I'm not seeing. I don't really I haven't seen anyone complain about it. But for me, that's my reaction. It's the same as like the YouTube thing, like during WrestleMania, they're like, here's how we put together this bullshit. Watch it on YouTube. And I'm just like, don't do it while I'm trying to be immersed in it. Like a comedian who's like up there on stage, like, I know you've told this story before, but if you preface it with like, last time I told this joke, I did it a little bit different way. And then you're laughing at it and you're explaining it. It's like, just tell me the joke, make me feel like it's a natural conversation, even though I know you've rehearsed it, and like make me laugh and don't take me out of this moment. And I don't know.
But they're not, see, and I understand.
They're advertising it during like SummerSlam.
Yes, sure. Maybe they shouldn't have advertised that during SummerSlam, but that's another argument that I keep hearing that I don't agree with. Like, they're not, besides the example that you just gave, which I will agree is an example of what you're trying to say. They're never going to be like in the middle of a Raw, like showing you a clip about something behind the scenes that you're about to see. Like, everything that they covered in that show was from WrestleMania and beforehand. So it's already been 3 months. I don't know. Maybe I'm the type of fan that can let that shit go. I appreciate, like, I guess I'm a smart ass Mark because I will never be in the industry, most likely.
Right.
I do not have the physical attributes, but maybe I could be in production. And, you know, I like learning about these things. It makes me appreciate it more from a production standpoint because that's part of my job. So like all the organization and all the different things happening and all the communication, I found that to be really interesting. And it's, to me, I can let it sit on its own and still watch the product and have the product just be the product,
right?
You know? Yeah. So I would say give it a shot. I mean, honestly, if you watch the first hour-long episode, you'll probably like 50 of the 55 minutes. And maybe 5 minutes, you'll be like, well, I already knew this, but you probably didn't have to remind me.
Right. It came on. I mean, I couldn't watch it because I was cutting hair, but in the background of the barbershop, you know, we played some WWE on Netflix, and then that came on. So I saw it throughout the day just without the sound, and saw a little bit of Gorilla stuff. But I mean, I'm glad you liked it. It's just, I just feel kind of weird about the whole thing. But I mean, I guess they have that, like, what is that, Down to Fuck show or whatever, DTF, about how they
what is that?
Let's fucking go or something.
LFG.
Yeah. That probably shows how
LFG.
they do everything too, right? Like,
it honestly doesn't. I watched that show too. It doesn't show as much as you'd think. I mean, yeah, you see them talking about things that you don't normally see them talking about, but again, it's not stuff that's like, we're not fucking idiots, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like you already know all this stuff. Sure, you don't need to be reminded of it on a constant basis, but the show is not constant.
Right.
It's 5 episodes. It's over.
Yeah.
LFG is its own thing. It's not about any of the people that we see on WWE TV. So I don't know. I just feel like people need to chill the fuck out. Like, we live in an era where you're not going to be able to hide secrets anymore.
Right.
Like, even, you know, I can hear people use well, this is like a magician coming up on stage and saying, so that trick I just did, let me show you how I did it. No one's going to fucking do that. Like, that's not even what this is. It's like that, hey, remember that thing I did 3 months ago? Let me show you a little bit about how I did.
I mean, yeah, I guess I just really, I want them to tell everything 30 years later, and while it's happening, I want you to shut the fuck up and stay in character. I want to know it's fake, but I don't want anyone to fucking wink at me, crack a smile. I want everyone to be exactly who they're supposed to be. And I have a problem with half the wrestlers in the press scrum being in character and half of them not. You know, some people are willing to talk about I mean, I didn't see this recent press scrum, but like, I don't know. I guess I'm serious. I want them to be serious about, I want to pretend like it's a real thing, but I guess I don't know. I guess that's all we can really say about that.
Well, we're living in an age where it's hard to do that. I don't disagree with you. I like that too.
Yeah.
I just think that it's maybe a little unrealistic for us to expect that all the time.
Yeah.
AEW, they do a lot of wink, wink, nod, nod, but I will give them credit where, like, yeah, when you're watching TV and you're watching that show, like, there's very little, like, there's very little breaking the fourth wall, cluing you in. It's just you're seeing a traditional wrestling product.
Well, before we started talking about, the validity of Unreal, you were mentioning something about John Cena's face turn was damage control. What were you getting at there?
So in Unreal, one of the things that they do go into in quite a bit of detail is that whole heel turn and the whole setup for Elimination Chamber, and what they're claiming is how things went down.
Okay.
So we talked about this before, where like Rock told Pat McAfee on an interview that someone reached out to him and said, ticket sales for Elimination Chamber aren't what we're hoping, and we'd really love to get you in for some kind of an appearance.
Okay.
So that's what they went with in Unreal, and they basically laid out how the whole thing with Cena came about, and it made it pretty clear that it was an idea that Rock and Brian Goretz had, and it wasn't completely their idea. The genesis of the idea was theirs, and then everyone at Creative kind of figured out a solution, and they came up with what they thought was the best thing. And so knowing that, and then watching his face turn on SmackDown this past Friday, he basically says in his promo something to the effect of, the people who are on my side left.
Right.
And he's talking about The Rock, so in the promo, he's basically saying, like, yeah, all that stuff, let's just let that go. That was a mistake. This is who I am. And,
and those fuckers don't even come around here anymore. So you can't like save anyone from.
Yeah. And he talks shit about Travis Scott too, which was great. The crowd wanted that. So
yeah,
it was damage control. It was certainly not the smoothest way they could have gotten to where they needed to be, but I understand why they did it. So I'm kind of just like, all right, I liked the match. I like Cena, and it's a little long, and there were a lot of botches, like production botches this weekend.
Yeah.
I remember Cena had like the metal railing thing, and he went to hit Cody, and he like missed him by a foot. And the angle of the camera was just directly perpendicular to them, so there was no way, even if he had gotten it perfectly, you still would have seen that they didn't make contact. Like, there was just something off about whoever was calling the camera shots.
There was so much, like, I mean, at one point Jacob Fatu got handcuffed to the top of a steel cage and somehow escaped in a few seconds,
and we missed it,
and the whole time he's like holding his arm up to let like Solo or whatever Samoan hook him up, and it's like, I don't know, everything just looked so fucking bad. And I had non-wrestling fans watching with me, and they're just like laughing at it and making fun of it. And I'm like, you guys, this is a terrible event. Like, this is not how it usually is. Like, what do you mean? It's stupid. It's wrestling. And I'm like, no, there is much better wrestling. Like, it's not all stupid. There is shit that is really well done, and WWE sometimes does it really well. But I mean, Lyra zip ties falling off close up on camera, and then her putting himself back in it was just like shameful. Fucking,
it was just a strange weekend.
It was weird.
Like, bad botches on production, bad botches in the ring, and then the crowd wasn't mic'd very well. I know, here I go with the audio stuff again, but they didn't sound into it.
I didn't even hear like a Cody Rhodes. It's like any of that shit. I mean, part of it,
Becky Lyra match, dude. They were like cheering about other things. They were doing the wave.
Yeah, and did they have the phones out for that one? Where they were just like shining the phones up? Oh wait, I was like, they must be bored. They're like fucking around with their phones.
Was that Dom and AJ?
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Know. Yeah.
Lyra,
it was a weird weekend.
Lyra needs to go back to. I don't see any charisma with her, and her fighting Becky over and over. It's like not putting her over. I don't think. I think Jade Cargill.
This was just such a bad. This was their worst match. This Becky Lyra match was the worst one they've had, and they've had 4 now.
So many, and that's. I feel like a lot of these matches I've already seen. Even like Karrion Kross, Sammy, we just saw one. I gotta say, dude, Jade Cargill. It's been 7 years. She's 33 years old. Like, it ain't gonna happen. Like, she's she's just not a great wrestler.
So Bully said something very interesting on Busted Open this morning that I was like, oh, makes a lot of sense. He was like, okay, so in the Dominic versus AJ match, who's leading? AJ.
Mm-hmm. The veteran usually does, right?
In the Tiffany Stratton versus Jade match, who's leading?
Tiffy, right?
Tiffy has one more year than Jade does, though.
Yeah.
So basically what he was implying by that question is neither of them were leading the match. They were going through their planned, rehearsed, like they had memorized the match. They weren't being open to the flow of the match. Also, it was 7 minutes, dude. How can you I don't know that I've ever seen a 7-minute match where I was like, oh yeah, that was dope. They're all like,
Yeah, it's just everything she does is very like, it's almost like kind of slow motion and like it's
mechanical.
You're like cringing, like, can you pull this one off? Can you make it look good? And then it's like, the indies look a lot better than Jade Cargill. So, she just looks fucking awesome physique wise. And everybody wants to do something with this person that looks incredible. Just muscular. I don't know. After 7 years, dude, what is she going to get it by the time she's 40? It's like, there's only a few years
she
left.
Needs more reps.
Yeah.
She certainly needs more reps. I don't know. It was a messy weekend. The best matches of the night were Punk versus Gunther, Cody versus Cena. The cash in by Rollins was fun, although to me it was like a coin flip. It was like, yeah, they've either been pulling the wool over our eyes about this injury or it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it happened. So it was fun. Night 2 surprise though. Can we just talk about this for a minute before we get into to SummerSlam? Man, I was so thrilled with the end of that pay-per-view, with Cena passing the torch to Cody, with just like because everyone was booing Cody. And then at the end of the match, Cena gave him the belt and the crowd was like, all right, we won't boo him anymore. And they cheered him. And then you have fucking Brock Lesnar come out. And I, as a character in WWE, love Brock. As a human being who is named in a lawsuit about sex trafficking, don't love that they picked him to come back. I know that he is only named. He's not accused of anything. He's not a part of the lawsuit directly, but his name is mentioned a lot of times with regards to things that, if true, are very, very bad.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that he's back. I thought that they probably would have just brought him back for his Hall of Fame induction, whenever that was. I think that this, in conjunction with Triple H going to the White House and them not being afraid of sharing that fact during the weekend,
right,
is kind of revealing about things that I feel like shouldn't be a part of being a wrestling fan. We should be abstaining from this type of shit. And instead,
there's a lot of things adding up. And I know with wrestling, you kind of have to turn a blind eye to some of the politics and things like that with some of these people. But like, there's a lot adding up. I'm a little frustrated with this weekend and like some of that political angling and the over, love, the love for Hulk Hogan, who obviously, would like to call people the N-word and bust up unions and all kinds of other shit. Part of me is like, feels like I don't even want to watch WWE this week. Like, I'm pretty bummed on the shit, and it's like, I was like, I'm happy we're watching. Our podcast is about old shit, nostalgia stuff primarily, because I don't know. Maybe I kind of just want to watch like AEW for a minute and until that gets old, and then see how I feel. Because I don't know, they're bean counting and Triple H coming out in his suit, always talking about how much fucking money you get, and I have to pay this money. When you keep upping your tickets and stuff. I'm tired of him. Tired of the way the company behaves. I'm tired of that Trump shit. I'm tired of all the weird sex shit. But go ahead.
You just reminded me that this weekend was the first weekend that they stopped having press conferences.
Did they really?
Yeah. And
that must be why I didn't see it. Yeah.
Well, and also think about the timing. He just met Trump at the White House. They just brought Brock back and they canceled their press conferences.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not pleased with them right now, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said something online that I don't think would be true, but they said, if you look at this suspiciously, the way that they've been behaving the last 6-8 months, it's like they're testing the waters.
Yeah.
To bring somebody big back. And there's only one person you could bring back.
Oh my God.
And if they bring Vince back, I'm out. I mean, straight up, I was not watching when he was in charge.
It was bad. It got real bad towards the end.
Not only was the product bad, but I was not going to
support
him.
No.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's a piece of shit. He's done amazing things for wrestling, but that you got to draw the line somewhere.
He's like 100 years old. I mean, what are you going to bring him back for? I wouldn't. No one said they would, but I guess I understand why.
But the thing is, if he came back, there'd be fucking troglodytes in the crowd doing the bowing down thing.
Oh yeah,
and, like, popping super hard as soon as No Chance in Hell starts playing. Like, it's. I've been reminded of the country that we live in. How about that? Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Did I tell you at what was it? My Money in the Bank? I was in the third.
Yeah, you got accosted.
Third row, like booing the national anthem.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
I didn't know that you did that. I remember you being accosted outside.
Oh my God. People are getting in my face being like, oh, my dad served in the Iraq War. And I was like, I served on it on the other side. I'm just like fucking with them,
You're such a troll, dude. My God. I can't. All right. What do we say we get into the rewind?
And now it's time for the rewind.
All right, so we're talking about SummerSlam 1992. This is August 29th of 1992. It was in London, England at Wembley Stadium. Attendance is listed at 78,927. I don't know if I believe that because they tend to inflate those numbers, but you just have to watch the pay-per-view and you can tell there's a lot of people. This is a big deal. The United Kingdom had not had a lot of WWF shows. They'd had house shows and things, but certainly not a pay-per-view as big as SummerSlam. So this was huge. It meant a lot to them. And it was during a period of time, the early 1992, we had, let's see, who was on commentary? Oh yeah, this was Bobby the Brain, our favorite, and our not so favorite, Vince McMahon. But we also had some fun interviewers. My favorite of the people that we had was Lord Alfred Hayes, who I've always heard, some people talk about him, but I don't think I've watched a lot of things with him. He is stiff and British as hell, and he was a terrible interviewer, but like I just kept finding myself laughing at him. Do you remember him in this?
Not really. I mean, was he part of that intro where they're interviewing the kids?
No, I'm Lord Alfred Hayes. I'm outside of the Ultimate Warrior's dressing room.
Oh, right, that guy.
I'm going to knock. I'm not going to knock.
Did you see in the intro, like, there's all of this weird, like, kids with Ultimate Warrior face?
Oh, the Brits,
stuff.
yeah.
I think that Mr. Perfect will be in the Macho Man's corner, and then I think he'll be in... Like, okay, it was really weird way to end Scotland Yard, the funny hats.
It wasn't even like, I don't think there was any like, all right, it's SummerSlam. It was just, I think it just opened and it started with interviews of kids on the street. Yeah. With like Cockney accents. You can't even understand what they're saying.
Yeah. And Heenan declares himself Sir Bobby, King of England, which I don't know.
Yes. Bobby was on one again in this one. There were so many good ones. I forgot to write them down until I think the main event. So I will call out my favorite Bobby the Brainisms when we get there. But yeah, so the big selling point behind this match was the main event, which was the Intercontinental Championship match between Bret Hart and the British Bulldog.
Mhm.
And I did some reading, and I can't remember who it was, but British Bulldog was not originally the person that Bret was supposed to have a feud against. But when they confirmed that SummerSlam was going to be in London and England, they did some reworking, and so they made it Bret and British Bulldog as opposed to Bret and whoever else it was going to be. So the first match of the evening was the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, with Paul Ellering, and they were wrestling Money Inc., which is Ted DiBiase and IRS Erwin R. Shyster, who were accompanied by Jimmy Hart.
Oh,
and what?
Paul Ellering was not the only person with Legion of Doom. They also had Rocco the Puppet. We can't forget about Rocco.
They did have Rocco the Puppet. Yes, that is true. This is not our first time seeing the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom. It's not our first time seeing Money Inc. This is a very iconic entrance for the Road Warriors because they ride in on motorcycles.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen this image so many times before, especially when I was watching as a youngster in the late 90s. And enjoyable match. Nothing spectacular. Crowd was interested. What did you think?
So this match is famous for Hawk being super strung out on drugs and basically sort of the beginning of the end of Legion of Doom. I mean, I guess they'd be reunited later, but Hawk was either inebriated or just, over it from doing all the drugs and shit. So Animal Bret Hart was quoted as saying Hawk was fed up. Animal looked like he was dragging a corpse around. Hawk said Vince had us riding with a fucking puppet. That wasn't LOD.
Yeah.
And Animal, Joe Laurinaitis, he said, we had that puppet with us, Rocco. Vince thought it was hilarious. We did not.
Yeah,
that
tracks.
It's kind of, I guess Hawks was done with the WWE. Well, he said it right there. But
yeah,
he at one point he did a clothesline off the top rope and totally missed and just laid there like dead weight. So knowing that he was fucked up on this match, you could kind of see it.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was, and now I kind of want to go watch it again, but also I feel bad.
Like, I think was there Dark Side of the Ring on Legion of Doom. I think they highlighted this match as sort of being one of the down points. But yeah, I mean, IRS cut his famous or his usual "you're all tax cheat" promos, which is kind of weird because like the internal revenue is for the United States, not England.
Yes, I did. I actually was thinking about that. Like, why is IRS harassing these Brits about taxes?
Yeah. But Animal pins DiBiase after a power slam for a clean win. Overall, it was one of the more noteworthy matches. That and like the final one. And the middle here gets a little thin for me, but
yeah, me too. Our second match of the evening was Nails versus Virgil, and I had to look up Nails. I did not know who the hell that was, and then when I did, I was like, "Oh, it was what was his name? Kevin Kelly." Yeah, I don't know why I knew him as Kevin Kelly, but he must have worked. Yeah. It was Mr. Magnificent. That's right.
So Nails didn't last very long in the WWE because he shut the door and beat the shit out of Vince McMahon.
Oh, is that who this was?
He had somebody watch the door and he assaulted Vince McMahon. So that'll get you out of the WWF pretty quickly.
Real quick. Yeah. Yeah. This was like a nothing burger of a match. It was 4 minutes long. Virgil was over. I mean, like the crowd liked Virgil, but their reaction to Nails was just dead silence, and it was a very forgettable match.
Yeah, and there was some promos in there too. I guess the thread on this is that we don't know if Mr. Perfect will be in Randy Savage or the Ultimate Warrior's corner. I don't know why it matters. I guess maybe I wasn't too caught up on the rest of the storyline, the TV.
They had been teasing. They've been talking about it. I mean, the one nice thing about about this match that you're talking about, the WWF Championship match, is they did have like a pretty large video package to kind of catch you up on what we had missed, but it doesn't really help for all the promos that you're talking about now, where it's like, okay, so we don't know whose side he's going to be on, but why does it really matter what side he's going to be on?
There was a promo with Mean Gene, Ric Flair before this match, and then there's ongoing interest with Sir Alfred, whatever the fuck.
Alfred Hayes, yes.
I think he was knocking on doors after this match.
He was, yes. I'm going to enter the Ultimate Warrior's dressing room, but I'm not going to knock.
Yeah. that's I was like, you guys, come on. Like, I don't care about this, but
yeah, they definitely made something out of nothing here. And then we got our first match where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'm kind of interested to see what this is going to be. It was Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels, with Sensational Sherry in the corner of Shawn Michaels. But the story that had been happening in weeks prior is that I guess Rick Martel had caught the eye of Sensational Sherry, or maybe it was vice versa, and they had kind of been flirting. And this was going to be sort of the grudge match between Rick Martel and Shawn Michaels to figure out, who is going to win Sherry's affections. But Sherry was very, very quick to say that there was one stipulation of the match, which was that they could not hit each other in the face, which made me laugh. Mm-hmm. They're too pretty. And also, this might just be a coincidence, but Sherry's last name is Martel, and Rick Martel is a part of this thing. I was like, were they like related or like married? And they weren't. It's just like a coincidence that they both happen to have the last name Martel in wrestling, in storyline. Yeah.
This match sucked though. I mean, they didn't fucking do it. I mean, you have Shawn Michaels. You think it'd be something, but it's not. It's just a comedy act. And
yeah, it was pretty bad. And two heels, like the crowd, I think again, the only pops I heard were for like the butt. Like, we saw their butt.
Yeah. I guess that was like a big wardrobe malfunction for the time for her ass to be exposed, but I don't know.
No, it wasn't her ass. No, it was Shawn. Like, they pulled Shawn's tights down. They pulled Rick's tights down.
I think, wasn't there like a gaff where you could see her when she fell down, too much of her or something?
Oh, no, I think it was just that her whole ass was cut out of her pants. Like her cheeks were just hanging out of the pants.
Oh, right.
It was like she was wearing assless chaps almost.
Yeah.
But I could just hear Vin, the 1992 Vin. Oh, show him your ass. It'll be real funny.
Yeah.
Chicks love it.
Sherry faints during the match. Vince is like, did she have a heart attack or what? It's just... They wake her up with a bucket of water. They're taking turns carrying her out of the ring. They get a double count out, fucking around with all this shit. I mean, a count out's really never a satisfying finish. And this was just slapstick comedy bullshit, really.
Yeah, because this is actually making me think about something that I don't know that we've ever discussed before, which is I think a big difference in old pay-per-views, and maybe it's just WWF and like other companies. It could kind of be old WCW too. When you watch an AEW pay-per-view now in 2025, it's very self-contained, right? Like you'll get your little package, but everything that you need to know and like all of the stories that are being told, they tend to end in the pay-per-view. And I think that's something that I'm noticing about all of these ones that we're watching in the past, is that this match, for example, extremely unsatisfying ending, but that clearly means that it was the story had to keep going somewhere. Right. And so like, that's what I feel like a lot of the time when we don't like matches, A, they're short or they're shitty or whatever, but B, like not having all the context of what happens before or after, I feel like is really difficult when we're watching something like this, as opposed to, we watched All In a couple weeks ago and like everything ended and you're like, okay, I have resolution on all of these storylines. Whereas with this, it's like, there's no resolution at all with this. So how are you expecting me to like be happy that there was a double count out?
I also think sometimes, I mean, it's hard to generalize all of it, but it feels like in the 90s, WWE was kind of, everything was sort of setting up the main event. There was a lot of cartoon bullshit waiting to get there. WCW seemed like, whether they intended to or not, it was more shitty, like real bad main events with old WWF guys.
F guys, yeah.
And the preliminary matches were like kind of killer.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like WCW has the good card, bad main event. WWF was sort of the opposite, I thought. I mean, just to generalize, you know?
No, for sure. And then like nowadays with WWE premium live events, I feel like they do a really good job of setting you up for the match, letting you know what's transpired, leading you up to it. And it's still probably like a coin toss at this point as to whether that match at that PLE will end or progress further. But I feel like they feel really well contained. Like Evolution, for example, which I still think is the best WWE pay-per-view of the year. Like every match felt satisfying, had a conclusion where you're like, okay, a chapter of this story has ended. Now we are moving on to the next chapter, or this book has closed, and now we'll have to wait and see what's next for this person.
Right.
And this match was like, okay, so nothing has happened. It's a double count on. Nobody has an advantage. Sherry still has the hots for both of them. So I'm assuming it gets brought up later, but uninspiring, uninteresting.
Right. I'm definitely not interested in what happened after that
Not
either. But
Yeah.
match 4 was the Beverly brothers, Bo and Blake Beverly, with the Genius versus the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon, or as Bobby the Brain Heenan said, Buffoon, for the WWF Tag Team Championship. Natural Disasters were the title holders. Beverly Brothers were the challengers.
Who the hell are the Beverly Brothers? Like, I've never heard of these guys.
I remember them. It was like short-lived sort of tag team mid-card guys.
Don't think I've ever seen a Natural Disasters match, so I at least appreciated that I got to see one.
Cool. Yeah.
Because I saw that Typhoon, whoever is still alive, was inducted in the Hall of Fame this past year.
Yeah, Typhoon. Who's also Tugboat, I believe, for a while.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they're two big old fat guys, sumo wrestling types. I think maybe Earthquake was sumo.
Yeah, I think he was.
And they would, jump on people with their weight, and that
they have a lot of weight.
They have a lot of weight.
Yeah.
The Genius came out. Randy Savage's brother.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah.
Is that Lanny? Oh my God, I didn't know that was Lanny.
Yeah, he always would read like a pretentious, really crap poem was sort of his gimmick.
Amazing.
It's kind of funny.
That's funny.
Right before we went on, I tried to find the exact poem so I could read it, but I was like, I don't know, I can't find it, but it was bad. And I think the Beverly Brothers were cheating using his metal scroll where his poem was written on.
Yeah. This was another one where I was like unimpressed, but happy that I got to see that the Natural Disasters in a match. I'm sure there are much better ones, or maybe there aren't. Maybe every one of their matches is like this. But not
all I really remember from back then is more of the pomp and circumstance. So I'm like, Earthquake, he jumps around the ring, makes a bunch of noise, so when he hits the splash, like it's big, it's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's all I really remembered from back in the day. But yeah, it was like, it wasn't that, it was a 10-minute match, but the Natural Disasters were able to retain, and they were also able to fuck up old what's his name, Lanny
Poffo.
Yeah, so they fucked up the Genius afterwards. And then we got like we didn't get a Bushwhackers match, but we got the Bushwhackers doing a promo.
Yeah, they did a backstage promo.
Perfect alignment. And I was thinking, this was like, whatever it was 30 years ago, but like the Bushwhackers were older than everybody. Those guys were old as fuck. They were like,
I also forgot they were fucking Kiwis. I did not. Yeah. I never remembered that they had accents. Yeah. And then when they started talking, I was like, oh, wow. I can't understand anything they're saying. And they're just, doing their fucking, they're like, if anyone was high on cocaine in this pay-per-view, it's probably those guys.
Yeah, when they're not talking, they kind of swing their arms up, their fists like up and down like Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
and nod their head up and down. They got fucking fucked up teeth and shit.
it's a sight to behold. I do remember them as a kid, but I don't remember much about them. So this is
Yeah.
another thing where I was like, oh, I know these guys. Oh, I did not remember that these guys were like this.
Yeah, yeah. And then in match 5, we get Repo Man versus Crush.
Another one where I was like, who the fuck is Repo Man? And I had to go look online and then realize, oh, they're talking about Crusher Khrushchev, which like that's how I remember him from the 80s, you know.
It's weird that he was Crusher and he's going against a guy named Crush. But the weirder thing is Repo Man and Crush were both in Demolition like a year before this. And here they are pretending like these tag team partners are fucking not who they used to be and have nothing to do with Demolition. They're just leaving that out like we're stupid. Yeah. So
this was another crap match.
There's a Bret Hart quote too. I pulled up a bunch of Bret Hart stuff, but he said that fans weren't stupid, but WWE pretended these two had never met. So
yeah,
basically just what I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? I cut you off. The dumb match.
I don't know. I just is a bad match, and Vince loves to insult his audience's intelligence in the 90s. This, I mean, Crush was over with the crowd. Like that was the thing, right? We've seen a lot of Crush because we've watched a lot of things in the 92, 93, 94.
Yeah.
Even I think he was even around like in the mid 90s stuff that we watched, but he just like never became a big name. Like he was always just around and the crowd liked him. I feel like he was just for the kids, you know. Oh, he's got bright colors, he's tall, he smashes people's head.
Hawaiian, I guess he's supposed to be Hawaiian.
I think he is Hawaiian.
Yeah, I guess he does. He's got like a weird accent in his promos. I guess it's Hawaiian. He just looks like a white guy to me, so I guess you can be white and Hawaiian, but
it was over almost before it began with Crush defeating Repo Man with his, I don't even know. He like squashes his skull, you know,
the cranium crunch,
the cranium.
Yeah, which is I guess you call that a head vice. But 5 minutes and 41 seconds, we got out of there, and then we got into a promo that was longer than the match about which fucking side is Flair and Perfect gonna be on, you know. So I was kind of over that a long time ago, and they're still talking about it.
Yeah, it took a while, and then, like I was saying earlier, we got a very long package queuing us up about the ongoing feud between Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man, or really more specifically, the feud between Macho Man and Ric Flair that kind of spilled into this. Because, like, I guess if I'm remembering correctly, 92 was the Royal Rumble that Flair wins the belt, right?
Yeah, he goes wire to wire, right? Yeah,
yeah, and that Royal Rumble I think is for the championship. It's like the only one.
Yeah, you're right.
So he was the champion earlier this year, and then I guess he must have lost it to Macho Man. So it makes sense that they were kind of trying to keep Flair involved with Macho Man, but again, like we were saying, all of the stuff leading up to this didn't really matter, and then they showed this recap video, and I'm like, oh, okay, so now I see why it matters a little bit. But even then, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. These guys are, you know, Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man are both baby faces at the time. Like, I just don't. It doesn't really make sense why one of these baby faces would have hired a heel. So it kind of just felt like they were creating something out of nothing, trying to add more drama to this match that I was already mildly uninterested in.
Right.
But so it began. Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man. They both came out with big entrances, and the whole thing that they were trying to say ahead of this was like, Mr. Perfect's going to come out with someone, but we don't know who. And then they both come out, and he doesn't come out with either of them. So, so once that happens, I'm like, okay, so like, is it even going to fucking matter? And the match itself was decent. You know, I've seen a handful of Warrior matches. They all are fairly unimpressive to me because he didn't do very much, but he was over. You know, people loved him. Wasn't my cup of tea, though.
He was like, was it a forearm? No, it was a lariat or a clothesline, a body slam, a body press slam.
He had a few clotheslines, the press slam. Yeah, and then he did the splash too.
and the shaking of the rope. It was like 5 or 6 things, but the kids loved him. You know, he's dressed up to look like some sort of crazy
superhero guy.
Yeah, he was the Dingo Warrior originally. You know that?
The Dingo. I feel like I did know that.
He was the Dingo Warrior, and he's not Australian or anything, but that's kind of his vibe, is that he's like, what's the word? Some sort of wild man, indigenous hunter of...
Yeah, like an Aborigine
or something, like kind of an appropriation sort of situation. But he's wearing a meat suit, I would call it, right? It's like his muscles are painted on the outside of his...
It's like the fucking terrible Giant Gonzalez thing that they did
like the same
next
thing.
year. Yeah,
it's got to be the same people.
Yeah. I mean, props to the airbrush artists or whatever. I'm sure they were just doing the best that they could, but it was just a weird idea. It doesn't really translate.
Yeah, just the concept isn't good. It's not like the artist was bad. It was just like, why do you need to look like we see your internal organs from the outside? I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing, like, as I look back on this whole event, even I would say like half of these matches are quite frankly like embarrassing. Like that's how bad they are. But at the same time, there's still an aura with some of the matches that have stars that people actually remember today. You know, so like this is one of them. It's not a terrific match, but there's like a vibe in that arena, in that stadium. You know, there's 70,000 plus people, and everybody knows who Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior are. So when it came to those types of matches, I really felt like, okay, even though this isn't the greatest pay-per-view I've ever seen, I can see why people look back on this fondly.
And if anyone was wondering, Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect do come out. They basically sabotage both men. Randy Savage, once he realizes he's getting help from them, goes out to, challenge them. He gets counted out. Yeah. They beat him up. Warrior helps Savage, in that fight. And I wrote down all sizzle, no steak, which sizzle's fine. You got 1992 peak Warrior, peak Macho Man. You got Ric Flair, Mr. Perfect. You have all the big faces, the names. The match was whatever's back and forth, till eventually someone's like DQ'd.
But the crowd was behind it. They were always interested.
So you can...
it strange placement on the card to have the WWF Championship match be like the second to last match, third to last match, or something like that. Yeah. Like a little strange, but a decent match. It just made me want to go watch like better Warrior and better Macho Man matches, not necessarily against each other, but
when Warrior like hulks up and does his no sell, like whatever, raising to the sky, it's like he's like an evangelical, like rising up to like
Joel Osteen,
speak in tongues or something. It's very like over the top, but I guess it's for the kids. I mean, I was into it when I was a kid. I didn't know he sucked at wrestling. It wasn't really important, but...
Right. So how much does it really all matter? At the time, it certainly didn't. I mean, I hear so many people who call it a busted open, and they're like, I love Warrior. Warrior's my childhood, and I'm just like, I was a few years too late for that. But a fun match nonetheless. And so we move on to our old
Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect promo.
Yes.
Is that what you're going to say? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. No, you go ahead. Talk about it.
Oh, I was just going to say it's loud and sweaty and all fucked up, and I don't really know why we still care about them being involved in this.
Yeah, I think, again, probably just a way to set up what I assume is an eventual Flair versus Macho Man rematch. Because Flair was just like, you can't mess, just doing his typical yelling and I'm the best and I'm going to take it back. And
was that our old friend, Sir Alfred Hayes? Is that what you were going to say? Interviewing them?
Honestly, I don't remember. I watched it like 4 days ago. I can't remember who interviewed him. But no, what I was going to say was our old pal Undertaker was in the next match. And he was up against... Look at you with the soundboard. I like that. He was up against Kamala, who I was definitely scared of as a child. And this was another fun Undertaker entrance. I feel like maybe all of the other shit lets me down, but the one thing I can count on is the Undertaker will always have a cool entrance.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like this was with the hearse,
Mhm.
and he's standing on the back bumper, and there's a coffin in the hearse. I just thought it was cool. Paul Bearer in the front, but it's old Paul Bearer just being a complete pasty creep. He's got one face the whole time.
The atmosphere was incredible.
Yeah.
The match, again,
Not so much.
Not so much. 3 minutes, man.
Yeah, this was a stinker.
You know what I think? Have we talked about Kamala's last name before on this show?
Mm-mm.
So Kamala's last name, and I'm fucking not making a joke, is oddly coincidental. It's Harris. This is fucking Kamala Harris.
Right, but his actual first name isn't Kamala.
No, but like
James Arthur Harris. That is pretty funny, though.
it's almost like too weird that
You can't write that shit.
Yeah,
Kamala.
you can't write that shit. Anyway,
But he was pronounced Kamala, and Kamala's Kamala.
and I'm so confused by that because when I see the name, I think about it like the wrestler.
The wrestler,
That's what
yeah.
I heard first.
Of course.
But I think Donald Trump says it like the wrestler, even though it's
he does.
right, which I don't want to be like that fucking guy.
Most people on the Republican side were intentionally calling her Kamala instead of Kamala.
Okay, because it sounds
because they want because it's wrong and they don't want to do any, they don't want to give her anything probably. I don't know why anyone does anything.
Okay. But I liked how when Undertaker was coming out, Heenan, like you said, was on fire. They were like, he was like, the steering wheel is on the wrong side. Which, he's funny.
He had so many good ones. I can't believe I didn't write them down. As soon as once the main event happened, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that's when I was like, okay, I got to write some of these down. So yeah, 3-minute match with Undertaker and Kamala. Now I'm doing it wrong. Undertaker and Kamala. And then we got to the main event, and there was some, pomp and circumstance, some pre-match stuff. We saw an interview with Bret's sister and the Bulldog's wife. I thought that was some interesting, dressing, some complication, if you will. She wasn't the best.
Yeah, it's family drama.
She wasn't the best interviewee, I'll say. But I liked that they were cutting back to her. And this is where I wrote down the first Bobby the Brain thing that made me laugh. And there is a shot of Diana, and he's like, "Who's that? Mike McGurk?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Mike McGurk?" And I don't know. And she was a wrestler, also female, obviously, and blonde. And I was like, "What a random, deep, joke that you just made." So.
There was also Roddy Piper playing some bagpipes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
Or as Bobby Heenan said, grown men in skirts playing vacuum cleaners. But...
Yes, he played the Balmoral Highlands song or whatever it's called. The song that he usually comes out to when he wrestles.
Yeah,
that was sort of out of place.
I don't see where it fit, but it was there.
It was there, and it happened. And they did a good job of hyping up Bret versus the Bulldog. And, their entrances were huge. And this was very clearly the match that everyone was there to see. It was by far the best match of the night, no comparison. And I suspect that part of that, again, was because of the crowd. The crowd was very behind it. They were all on the side of British Bulldog, even though Bret Hart was a babyface. So... I thought this was terrific. And the first Bobby the Brain quote that I wrote down that made me laugh super hard was, he was talking about the British Bulldog who was in cornrows or dreadlocks, however, I think it was cornrows. Yeah. He had cornrows.
Oh, that's
and Bobby says, "I don't know why he lets Whoopi Goldberg do his hair." That one got me. That was a deep cut.
That's funny. There's just nothing acceptable for me about like a white guy with cornrows or dreadlocks. It just
I don't really know why he felt the need to have that, but
something's just and I don't know why it's so irritating, but every time I see it, I'm just like, bro, it's not working for you, you know?
It'd be one thing if it was like a good look for the person, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it was a bad look for the Bulldog, but it certainly wasn't his best look.
No.
Um, and getting back to the match itself, they had plenty of time. I think it was like 25, 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
There were opportunities to let things breathe. I actually saw some moves from Bret that I had never seen before, which
Mm-hmm.
I thought was really cool. Most of them were like the Bulldog had him in some kind of a hold. They were doing some chain wrestling and Bret would counter it. And it was
Right.
just a counter that I have never seen.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if anyone ever started doing it after Bret or if someone did it before. But there were some really, really cool, like, wow, I've never even thought that like you would get out of a move this way. So
Right. It was, I mean, some people consider this one of the best matches of the 90s, one of the best matches in history, one of the best, pick your poison. Like,
mhm.
it's very like celebrated. It's one of Bret Hart's career highlights. Yeah,
I
it's
could see
brilliant,
why.
technical. The crowd was so electric, so there was a lot to play off there. But
Mm-hmm.
but have you heard about like the behind the scenes on this match?
No, I have not.
Okay, so British Bulldog, much like the first match, was all allegedly just all fucking coked out and forgot everything they were supposed to do,
Oh
and
my
was
gosh.
dead weight in the match. And Bret Hart in his book is quoted saying he thought to himself, if I can pull this off, I really must be the best there is. And
I had no idea watching.
so Bret basically says he carried that entire match, and Bulldog came up to him beforehand and was like, I have no idea what's going on. And he'd been up for days and days
Jeez.
doing drugs.
Wow.
And Bret said he was livid. He was pissed.
Yeah, why? How could you not be?
Because nobody knew what he just accomplished. Nobody knew what he just had to do to make that happen. So I read about it and rewatched it, and I'm like, it's not like Bulldog does nothing. He doesn't seem incapable.
It's not like Jeff Hardy in that match with TNA where he like literally couldn't stand up.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. But also, I think that's a lot of times why Bret was kind of like getting himself into a hold and then telling him, like he said, for the finish, he was like, when I go for the sunset flip, just sit down. Just sit down on my chest, which is eventually, how it finished.
Mhm.
But Bret wrote about this match a lot in his book. So
That's cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, interesting. Adds an interesting bit of color to that match. I guess I might have to watch it again. One of the other moves that Bret did that I had never seen before, and it wasn't a counter. It was just like I've literally never seen it before or after. Bulldog was on the floor and Bret jumped over the top rope and gave Bulldog a neck breaker onto the floor. Do you remember this? It was like Bulldog's all the way down on the floor. Bret jumps all the way. He jumps over the top rope, somehow manages to grab Bulldog's neck and do a perfect backbreaker. It was insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I just was so impressed by the technical skills of this match. And that's so crazy to me that Bulldog was just coked out of his mind because I didn't notice it. Like, I thought I thought it was perfect.
When you go back and watch the match knowing that, you still can't really tell. So, I mean, I know Bret Hart's very outspoken, has a lot of opinions,
Yeah.
There's a lot of ego there. He's really, I mean, he is the best. I'm not arguing with that. I think he's hilarious how he tells it like it is. I tend to kind of take his side when he tells his story.
That's why Punk likes him so much.
But there isn't a lot of Davey Boy. Davey Boy wasn't. He didn't write a lot about it, so it's just Bret's side. But the way that Bret tells it, he just made someone else look really, really good. So much, he's so awesome that Davey Boy could be worthless in the ring and still look that good.
Yeah, I mean, Bret is pretty fucking good. I do love Bret Hart. Well, and that was it. But we didn't get to the finish, I guess, which is probably important. So, after a lot of back and forth, the crowd is really at a fever pitch. There There is a sunset flip. Bret tries to get a sunset flip onto the Bulldog. Bulldog is able to counter it and get Bret in a pin, folds him like an accordion, and gets the win and is the new Intercontinental Champion. And I got to tell you, the pop when he wins is very, very, very loud. Even for 1992's shitty audio equipment. Holy mackerel.
I believe, there was a handshake, some camaraderie. There was some good sportsmanship.
Diana came into the ring and hugged them both. And they all, it was perfect. It was a perfect main event.
Yeah.
All the storytelling you needed was inside the body of the match, which is why Bret is the best. It was perfect.
Yeah. We mentioned that it was brother-in-laws fighting, right?
We did very briefly, but Diana Hart, Bret's brother, Davey Boy, British Bulldog's wife. So yes, they were brothers by marriage.
So you had Diana's face sort of picture in picture off and on throughout the match, which was good storytelling.
This was clearly far and away the best match, like not just because of what happened in the ring, but just everything, atmosphere, storytelling, the build up that they did. It's pretty perfect.
I wrote down a few interesting facts just to sort of wrap it up. This was the first major pay-per-view outside of North America for WWF. Like you mentioned earlier, it was a tape show. It actually aired 2 days in the US after it already happened. I guess back then you didn't really...
No spoilers in 1992, yeah. Oh, that makes sense why there was a match in between Undertaker and the main event that was listed on Wikipedia as a dark match, but clearly couldn't have been a dark match because it was in the middle of the pay-per-view. So there was the Tatanka versus the Berserker. They just cut it out. I don't know who's the Berserker.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate we didn't have to watch that. Savage versus Warrior was originally slated to be the main event. I think they still called it the main event.
Which is weird.
In this event, but somebody made the right call at the last minute to put the hometown boy in the real main event. We already talked about Davey Boy was high, so Bret called the whole match in the ring. LOD's most iconic entrance. Flair didn't wrestle, but he was there, which seems kind of like a waste of Ric Flair on the roster. And Bulldog's pop that we talked about was one of the most historic pops of all time. Bret also considers this to be one of his greatest matches of all time.
All right, I guess we should give it a grapple grade.
Grapple grade, for those of you that don't know, we go fast forward play or rewind. Fast forward being the lowest score, rewind being the highest score. I am going to have to go play on this, not fully rewind, because the pay-per-view itself wasn't strong. It was strong in nostalgia, and the right people were all there, and we have a really, really great match, and we have some story, but overall it doesn't hold up for the full 3 hours that it goes. You could really just put on this match, fast forward to the main event, and you should. But I'm right there kind of in the middle on this one. How do you feel about it, Aaron?
We are one and the same yet again. The pay-per-view is a stinker. Let's just be honest. If you sit down for 3 hours, you're going to be like, what is this shit for 2 hours of the 3 hours minimum? So I'm going to give it a play. I'm going to say you can watch the whole thing if you want. Just be prepared for it not to be great. And if you really want the highlights, just watch British Bulldog versus Bret Hart, because that is far and away the best thing on this pay-per-view.
If you guys want to get a hold of us, you can hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's all Grapple City, at Grapple City Pod. Or you can call 626-657-SLAM. You can leave us a voicemail. You can cut a promo on us, tell us what we're right about, what we're wrong about, how much you want to beat us up, and how you're going to do it, or whatever makes you happy. We've had some people calling and have some fun at our expense.
What's our clip actually from? What's pick out the fun? What is that from? Is that?
Oh, it's from a 900 sex
knew it.
line from the 90s that used to play like in between everything I was watching.
It just had like a very like this is a phone sex line vibe to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate
it was
that
like,
for
you
us.
don't have to be alone tonight. Just call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. I do have somebody called in. Let's see.
Boy.
Do I have
What did I
Justin?
do now? Has anyone talked shit about you, or has it only just been picking on me?
That promo, he did a section on both of us. Yeah. But then somebody had some dispute about your take on
I had a
real
hot
heat
take.
or something.
I didn't have a lot of hot takes this episode. I should be more divisive and mean.
All right, let's take this call.
Hey, Grapple City crew. This is Justin from Toledo. I know you're watching SummerSlam 92 soon, so I watched it over again as well. Listen, I know people love to romanticize that one because of the crowd and the stadium and all that, but to be honest, that undercard was trash. It was like straight up house show energy.
he's not wrong.
You got Nails and Virgil doing I don't even know what. The whole Sherry Michaels Martel thing was an SNL skit gone wrong. Warrior versus Savage should have been the match of the year, but instead we got 30 minutes of whose side is Mr. Perfect on. It was all just a big old waste of time. Bret and Bulldog saved the whole show, no doubt. Bret carried a man who was allegedly coked out of his mind to a 5-star match in front of 80,000 people and somehow made it look competitive. He's the GOAT for that alone. But if you're going to try and convince me this is an all-time great pay-per-view, you're grading on the crowd noise over the content. Anyway, love the show. Watch some more WCW for me soon. Later, dudes.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think Justin, you are right there with us on this one. That's pretty much says it. There's pretty much nothing else I could say about that one. But I have fun with the historical aspects of watching these things with intent.
It's fun to watch, even if it's a stinker, because then you can look back and be like, "Wow, it wasn't as good as I thought." The past is not as beautiful as we pretend that it is sometimes.
Yeah, and even when I watch these things, like I've had this thing on in the background at my house like so many times. You just click SummerSlam and they all play. But I never like sit there and I'm like taking notes and really watching it. So I feel better kind of knowing where I stand with it as a whole.
How much wrestling is supposed to have notes taken about it? Probably none of it, if we're being perfectly honest. Like, who knows?
Right.
This is never meant to be something that notes were written about. But we have fun and we look back on the past with a critical eye, which is okay. You know, it's not everything can be sunshine and roses in the past. But despite all of the junk that we got in SummerSlam 92, there was a diamond at the end of that coal mine.
There was. Next week, it's my call. I'm looking at NWA Clash of the Champions 3 Fall Brawl, which was September 7th, 1998 in Albany, Georgia. It was TV special, not a pay-per-view. We've watched another Clash of the Champions before. Was it? Oh, did I say 98? I meant 88. I thought you said
98. And I was like,
yeah, I was just looking for something that's going to line up timely. I like to kind of hit it similar dates when we can. We don't. There's no rules. We don't have to. But yeah, I want to get away from WWFE for a minute because it's just been a lot. It was 2 SummerSlams, an old one, a current one. I want to go back to WCW. I like that other Clash of the Champions, like the weird 80s fucking TV stuff. It was kind of cool. So, yeah, like this will be like peak like Horseman era, you know? So, I hear it's a hidden gem, and it's weird, and it's perfect for our summer transition into September, which, you know, the summer went by pretty quick. Well, that's all we have for this episode of Grapple City Rewind. We'll be back as soon as we can. Until then, we'll catch you in the cheap seats.
Adios.